here?
Well, today we're here to condemn the recent bombardment and attacks on the Gaza Strip, which come shortly after the attack on Gaza in 2008, Operation Cast Lead, which led to thousands of deaths of civilians, children, women and unarmed civilians. It led to hundreds of injuries, which Gaza are still recovering from. And once again, Gaza...
So where do we go from here?
Well, it's up to Israel. Once again, Gaza is a victim of the Israeli propaganda leading to Israeli presidential elections.
Do you think there's blame on both sides?
Well, every human has a right to defend itself. So when Israel launched an offensive attack on the Gaza Strip, it's a human instinct for the Palestinians to defend themselves, whether that to launch rockets at the Israeli territories, whether that to be in media to condemn the Israeli attacks within social networks and the mainstream media.
Do you think Israel are justified in firing rockets to defend themselves?
Whether it be Israel or any other country, it's unjustified to attack any civilian, unarmed or armed.
So when rockets come from Gaza and their destination is we don't know where, it could be on innocent people, that's a problem as well, isn't it?
Well, we saw that in 2008, Operation Cast Lead was a clear example of random attacks that targeted civilians walking between schools, between nursing homes, and then the Israeli defense minister spoke to the public to defend the attacks.
Can you give viewers of this video an optimistic picture for the future?
Well, the optimistic view for the future is hazy at the moment, because it's become clear that Israel do not want peace. They may want peace of land, but they do not want peace.
Where do we go from here?
Where do we go from here? Well, that's a very good question. I think the answer lies with the Palestinians. Either we are caught in this mad decision on the part of the Palestinians for war, or they come to the realization that they can have an Arab state, a second Arab state in former mandatory Palestine, because there already is one, it's Jordan. Alternatively, we'll be caught up in this mad, crazy war, but it depends on them. If they want to battle Israel, well, that's exactly what they're getting. And the other thing is that it's about time that the world should wake up. There have been 800 rockets fired into Israel this year so far.
They feel it's justified because they say that the Israelis are pressing them.
In which way?
They feel that there's ethnic cleansing.
There isn't.
They feel.
Look, these are statements that Hamas and others throw up in the air without any proof, right? Read the Hamas charter and see for yourself exactly. I mean, the Hamas doesn't lie. It says exactly what it wants. It says exactly its vision. Its vision is not the creation of a Palestinian state. The vision is the destruction of the Jewish state, and they're not going to get it. So read the Hamas charter and find out exactly where the essence of the ethnic cleansing lies, with them, not with Israel.
So what is going to happen? What's the end solution? Because innocent people are dying on both sides.
That's exactly right. I don't see, I'm not a prophet, I don't see solutions. The reality is that since 1947 and beyond, the Palestinians have been hitting out on the destruction of the Jewish national movement, and they're not going to get it. And in the same way as they're now attacking Israel, Israel is a canary in the mine. It starts off with Israel, and tomorrow it'll be London. And it's just London, and it's just New York, and it's just Paris, and it's just Belgium.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.
Ideally, what needs to happen now is there needs to be a ceasefire. The Israelis need to stop shelling and bombing Gaza, because you don't attack a civilian target, even if you feel like you've been threatened by militant groups.
And is there any justification for Hamas and the terrorist cells to send rockets over to Israel?
Hamas have a right to resist, but to a certain extent I think their tactics have been failing, because they haven't been specifically targeting the Israeli military and the people that are directly occupying them. It doesn't really make sense to attack civilian groups. It's just a two-way stream if you do that, and that's just illogical.
Are you optimistic for peace?
I'd like to think that it would happen, and given some of the changes in Israeli society recently that have been happening, there's more of a push for peace with Iran, and I'm hoping that the Israeli people will collectively get together and say that we've had enough of this and stop the militant tactics that the ruling Israeli parties have had in recent years. But at the end of the day, the Palestinians are still being occupied, and as long as that happens, I don't think there can be peace.
And do you think demonstrations outside the Israeli embassy work?
I think if nothing else, they bring attention to the issue and force people to think about it. And it may not achieve any of the goals in the short term, but long term, at least we're doing something rather than just sitting around.
Well, unfortunately, Hamas and other affiliated gangs have put Israel in such a situation that they have no choice but to commit a unilateral action against them. Now, let's bear in mind one thing. Israel has invested so much money in precise targets, an absolute humane way just to hit the terrorists and to avoid casualties as much as possible. But it makes it so hard when you have Hamas and Martyrs Brigade, Islamic Jihad and so on, who'll use children and women as human shields for propaganda, because everyone knows they can't win this on the ground. They'll only win it through televisions and radio, newspapers and so on. And so when people see this, I think, oh my God, children, and they're
Who's to blame for this?
Hamas. Well, I think the Palestinians, they need to pull their socks up. As the Arab Spring, Hamas, they claim they're democratically elected. It's been, 5 years since their last election? Where's the next election?